Honourable members of the Parliament, it was actually 25 years ago that I first stumbled into politics as a stagiaire in this very house, just outside here, at the cafe bar, in a way. If you had told me then that one day I would sit in front of you sitting here in front of you, seeking your approval also, of course, to become European Commissioner, I would have not believed you. Not at all, actually, more than 25 years ago. It is actually both humbling on the one side and exhilarating also on the other hand. And I've always been a very convinced European for my entire life. My country, Austria, has benefited a lot and enormously from being part of the European Union, and also from its enormous enlargement in the following years after we became member of the European Union. I come from Vorarlberg, which is, well, I would say a small region, but proud region in Austria on the western border, nestled between the borders of Germany, Switzerland, and Liechtenstein. And I stress that because just like the town of Schengen, my hometown is only a few kilometers away from several borders. And growing up there, I was keenly aware, actually, of what borders meant at that time. Switzerland came to Schengen in 2008. So when I grew up, we had sort of outside Schengen borders also, long before I actually knew what Schengen actually stood for. And growing up in Vorarlberg in the 1970s, it was actually a time when workers had arrived in great numbers from Turkey on the one hand, but also what was then called Yugoslavia at that time, to work and live there under Austria's guest worker program, contributing greatly actually to the region's economically success. And so what we call legal migration today is very much part of my lived experience, actually, when I grew up. So, honourable members, it is no secret that my professional focus so far has been on finance, on energy, on the budget, on economy, on strengthening competitiveness. But I rather see that as an advantage, because although I'm rather new on the internal affairs and migration compared to this committee especially, my work has always been about squaring difficult circles, I would say. And I'm taking a very fresh look at those very complex questions through the lens of my experience and also the values-based, quite a pragmatic, I would say, result-oriented and respectful approach I like to think is my hallmark. You will have also noticed, or otherwise you will maybe in the future, that I'm not a showman. I'm not looking for sound bites, I would say, not just because I'm a lawyer after all, but I will always be, as you, Honourable Chair, mentioned as well, I'll always be an honest broker of balanced and also workable solutions, no matter how much time and energy also it will take at the end of the day. And this is what this portfolio also calls for, I would say. And as a lawyer, I'm a firm believer in rules and in the need to respect them and also to enforce them at the end of the day. I will never compromise on that, including when it comes to fundamental rights. Over the last weeks, I've spoken to many of you. Thanks for all these interesting discussions I had with you, but also to other key players, of course, international organizations, renowned experts, NGOs also, as well as practitioners on the ground. And I've heard many different and I would say also strongly held opinions. But listening to you all, I've no doubt that there is one thing that unites us, at least one thing that unites us, which is the desire to do right by the citizens and people we serve at the end of the day. And something that as a member of the government, of the Austrian government now, and as a former parliamentarian, I fully share. Honourable members, 3 principles will guide my approach when dealing with the priorities in the next mandate, if I'm confirmed. First, a strong focus on preparedness and foresight. I think that is very important in that respect. Second, a drive to find solutions that are comprehensive and also balanced. And third, the pursuit of intense international cooperation. Let me start with what I see as my top priority, which is keeping people safe and our Union, our European Union, secure. Our open societies will always face the challenge of how to defend our values effectively while remaining true to those very values at the same time. And in this committee, these are dilemmas that you well know, all of you, of course, very well. And the truth is, in my opinion, that our citizens expect both solutions for their concerns on the one hand and respect of the values they hold dear. And sometimes those balances are, of course, quite difficult to strike, and that is what we are here to do, because the future of our democracy depends on it. And there will be a lot to tackle together. Europe's security threats have become more complex, they have become more international, they have also become more sophisticated, and our response must be comprehensive, starting with a mindset of preparedness, as I said before, in all policy areas, as set out by the former President Niinistö last week also. I think this question of being prepared for crisis, I think, is very important. And if I'm confirmed, I will make presenting a new European internal security strategy an immediate priority. Honourable members, let me now move to the second big topic, managing migration. Thanks to the hard work, especially of this House and of this committee especially, the agreement on the Pact on Migration and Asylum sets the stage for a new and better way of managing migration, one which is based on fair rules but also firm rules. I think this combination is very important, and the most technologically advanced border management system in the world. I believe that we must now do 3 things in parallel. First, we must implement the pact. That's pretty obvious. We have less than 2 years left to get it up and running, and I believe that we can accelerate also the implementation of some elements while always carefully maintaining the important balance between solidarity and responsibility, as well as its internal dimensions and external dimensions. Second, we must also tackle some unfinished business, in particular with regard to returns. If confirmed, I will immediately start broad consultations with a view to coming forward with a legislative proposal as quickly as possible. And I will continue to contribute to the work to deepen our partnerships with third countries in a way that better reflects Europe's priorities on migration. Another piece of unfinished business is strengthening legal pathways to attract the skills and talent we need in our labour markets. If confirmed, I will make this also a priority. And third, we need to be open to considering new ideas to complement the implementation of the pact, always in line, of course, with European Union values and our legal obligations also. So, honourable members, let me maybe make a broader point here. As a national politician, I've been following all these debates for years, and all the conversations I have had over the last weeks have actually strengthened my conviction. Our citizens are absolutely ready to help those who flee from war and persecution and need our protection. They know that without immigration, our competitiveness and prosperity are at risk in the long term. And they want to travel, and they also want to work, of course, without having to wait at internal borders. But what I think and feel is important for them is that we, as politicians, can manage the situation effectively. So we must work hard to demonstrate with concrete results also that we respond to the people's concerns, that we can find solutions, that we can work together. And when it comes to borders, I will limit myself here to maybe one conviction which is very important to me. There is no contradiction, in my view, between protecting our borders and respecting fundamental rights. We must manage our border the European way, meaning in full compliance, of course, with fundamental rights. And this is who we are. This is what our citizens also expect from us. Let me also say a word on what is happening at our Eastern European borders. Putin has brought death and destruction to the Ukraine, has tried to blackmail us by cutting off energy supplies in the beginning and used energy actually as a weapon against Europe, and is now bringing his war to our borders together with his ally Lukashenko. And let's make no mistake about this. These are hybrid attacks, not only against Poland, Finland, the Baltic states, Baltic member states, but against all of us, against the whole of Europe. And we cannot and we will not allow Russia and Belarus to use our values, including the right of asylum, against us. We must therefore continue working on a united European response without compromising on our values. So, honourable members, I was also very pleased actually to see that the portfolio I've been designated for also includes combating anti-Semitism and anti-Muslim hatred, as well as the dialogue with churches, religious associations and philosophical and non-confessional organizations. And if confirmed as Commissioner, I will spare no effort to ensure that a safe Europe means a Europe safe for everyone who lives in it, and one that defends a model of society free from hatred, free from discrimination, and also grounded in the values of dialogue and also tolerance. These past few weeks have been quite, I would say, a steep learning curve for me, and I recognize that most of you are far more versed in security and migrations policies than I am so far. And Libe is of course, a committee full of expertise and of passion, full of passion also. But I've always been a fast learner, and if confirmed, I commit to serve both you and this portfolio to the very best of my abilities. When I was much younger, I would say I was rather a competitive tennis player, and my approach has always been to play the long game with patience, with determination, and also with a clear objective ahead, I would say. This approach has served me well, both on the court, I could have done better, of course, and in my professional life so far, and I will continue this way in the years ahead. So if I'm confirmed, exchanging with you will be my priority, and I'm committed to applying the highest standards of ethics, of course, and of transparency, and I would hope to be able to count on you, on your willingness to engage, of course, on your commitment also to find solutions, even when it's hard, and last but not least, on your advice also. And with this, honourable members, I look forward to our exchange. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Brunner.